welcome to the Glasstire Top 5, a very special edition week of June 14th, 2018. I'm Rainey Knudson, and with me today is my dad.
I'm Tom Knudson, a.k.a. Rainey's dad, here in Houston,
It's Father's
Texas.
Day week, yes.
It is.
We are celebrating Father's Day with a special Father's Day edition of the Glasstire Top 5.
And Rainey is taking a huge chance by asking me to participate with her in the Top 5, but I'm kind of a Top 5 junkie. I love the Top 5.
And you yourself are huge, so...
Yeah. And, but we thought we might expand it a little bit today and talk about some other things other than just art, but we should start with art because this is Glasstire.
What we're talking about are outings that you could take with your dad or with a dad you know, the dad in your life, that would be fun to do in Texas.
Amen.
Okay, starting with art. Many dads are into contemporary art. Many dads are into artist-run spaces and galleries and all kinds of stuff that we list on Glasstire and we talk about. So we encourage you to look at the Glasstire listings. But if I had to pick one for you that you would be interested in, you really like Native American art, and I think for that, I would say let's go up to Dallas. Let's go to the Dallas Museum of Art, which has probably the single best collection of Native American art in Texas. Yeah. And that would be a fun road trip.
It would be a great road trip. But let me just say, I like all kinds of art. When the MFA in Houston had the Impressionist exhibit a couple of years ago, I probably spent 3 days in there, and I read every piece of writing on every wall.
Well, the curators will be very glad to hear you that you said that. Number 2 on our list, you attended the Naval Academy.
I did.
Class of
1967.
And you did 2 tours in Vietnam.
I did.
And your dad, my granddad, was also in the military, also in the Navy.
He was a carrier pilot in the Pacific in World War II, and your grandfather on the other side, your mom's dad, was a bomber pilot in Germany, or in the UK, but bombing in Germany in World War II.
That's right, on D-Day. So we've got a lot of military in our family. You're a ex-military man. If you're interested in military, if your dad is interested in military, what would you do?
Well, I mean, first off, let me say, as is the case with all these, there are many, many places you can go in Texas that have wonderful exhibits and so on. But for me, I would go to the Museum of the Pacific in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is an amazing place. It's just a fabulous museum, and of course, Fredericksburg's a really fun place to go just and hang out for a day or two.
Absolutely.
Another thing you could do with your dad or a special man in your life might be to do something historical. And
we have history in Texas.
We have a lot of history in Texas.
We have history everywhere. In all seriousness, Texas history is rich with places to visit in Texas and lots of sites and museums and many, many historical museums. But the granddaddy of them all, of course, is the Bullock Historical Museum in Austin, which is the state of Texas official historical museum.
All 5th graders go to the Bullock now, and if you haven't been, you should go.
You should go.
Yeah.
And it's an excuse to go to Austin.
And it's a great excuse to go to Austin.
Yeah. Your military background wasn't just being in the Navy. You were a naval aviator.
I was a pilot and an aeronautical engineer.
And an aeronautical engineer. So scale of 1 to 10, how realistic is the movie Top Gun? Because you were a Top Gun.
In terms of having an instructor that looked like Kelly McGillis, it's about a 1. In terms of the arrogance of Navy carrier pilots, it's a 10. It may be a 12 because we're a terrible group. If I were going to go to one place, and it's very special to me, I would go to Corpus Christi, to the Lexington Museum. And the reason for me is my very first carrier landings for real were on the Lexington.
Wow, so the first time you ever landed on a boat, not a ship, was out in the Gulf of Mexico? In the Gulf of Mexico.
I was flying out of Pensacola. You practice on land for weeks with a carrier deck painted on a field, and to make sure you can fly this perfect pass. And then, of course, you know, your heart pounding and so on. You go out and actually try to do it in real on the Lex. And you know, for student naval aviators, for their first time, they pick a nice blue sunshiny day with no waves or anything. And you know, it's just they're not wanting to scare you off yet for those dark, stormy nights that are yet to come. But
so you did some dark, stormy night landings over the course of your career in the Navy.
Yeah, I did 2 deployments to Vietnam, and I flew off the Enterprise. And the Enterprise had a gift of finding the biggest thunderstorm in the Gulf of Tonkin and getting under it. right when I was going to land. Yeah, and we thought maybe science might be a subject that would be of interest to the man in your life, your dad or whoever. And so if you were picking a place for science, where would you want to go?
Well, if I were picking it for you and me to go on a Father's Day outing, I would pick NASA. I would pick NASA here in Houston. Partially because I haven't actually been to NASA in a little while, but partially because they've done a really nice job with the museum. It's supposedly a little more kid-friendly maybe than some people want, but to get in touch with the space agency and the space race and all of our history in Texas and in the United States with what we've done with space is so cool.
Yeah.
And also the future of what we could be doing in the future. And I think that they cover all of that stuff. And you get to eat freeze-dried ice cream.
Be able to go. I had several classmates who were astronauts. Sadly, one of them, Mike Smith, was the pilot of the Challenger when it was destroyed. But I'll never forget one of my favorite experiences, and Rainey remembers this, is Mike invited us to come down to NASA and tour, and you and your brother and sister got to climb up into the simulator with Sally Ride, and she kind of took them through the simulation they were running was at a period of time when there wasn't anything for them to do, and she actually let them get up into the simulator with her. Which
is an example of no matter how awesome the experiences you give your child in a certain direction, they may end up just starting an art magazine in Texas.
Yeah. Astronaut maybe. Art magazine? Hey, but as I say, I'm a huge Glasstire fan.
Thank you, Dad. There's a grabbing the seat of your pants and jumping aspect to both activities. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, for all of you out there on this Father's Day and all the days to come, for the dad in your life, whether it's your dad or somebody else, a dad that you know, go have an outing, go spend some time together. There's so much cool stuff in Texas.
And, happy Father's Day, everyone.
Happy Father's Day.
Go see some art.